Akeem Olufemi Gbajabiamila. God bless you all.
Courts cannot read into or import into the Constitution what the legislators never intend.
Ninth House takes a stand on amended Electoral Act, describes court ruling as a breach of legislative privileges. And lawmakers call on central bank to reinforce the use of coins as legal tender. Welcome to another episode of House Ticket, your window into the activities of lawmakers in the Ninth House. Last week, the House rose with one voice to declare that it will do all it can to preserve the laws for the benefit of Nigeria and Nigerians. This was particularly when it decided that it will challenge the decision of a High Court ruling on the recently amended Electoral Act. House Ticket has details of the lawmakers' position in this episode alongside highlights of bills, motions and other reports. In another scene, investigations into the operations of oil and gas companies with a bid to recover over 2.6 trillion naira owed the Nigerian government is ongoing. So far, how far? Details of these and other reports when the program kicks off after this timeout. Once again, welcome to House Ticket. I am Firdausa Ahmed Wakili, welcoming you on board. Please stay tuned.
If we set our minds right, embrace each other in love and brotherhood, we will come through these troubling times. We will survive, we will recover, and then we will thrive. One nation under God, free, peaceful, and prosperous.
The program commences fully with a review of major decisions taken during plenary last week. Highlights include breach of privileges, a call to investigate processing fees for JAM registration, a proposed amendment to the NEDC Act, amongst others, top the issues. Let's get the report as compiled and presented from our studio.
During plenary of Wednesday, the 23rd of March 2022, issues associated with Section 84, subsection 12 of the amended Electoral Act took center stage, particularly on the court judgment ordering that the section be deleted. Representative Sada Soli Jibia rose on that matter of privilege concerning the judgment of a high court to delete the section.
Mr. Speaker, the judgment given with respect to Section 84(12) of the Electoral Act, the intention of the legislature was to address the issue of political appointees, which was never in anywhere in our Constitution addressed. The Constitution was talking about employed public servant or civil servant in federal appointment or in civil or in state appointment. It did not in any way look at the political appointees and their future and their attempt to participate in the electoral process of this country. In the wisdom of the legislature, crafted that in order to address and to give level playing ground for all participants.
In the Constitution, where there is separation of powers and where we have been made by the provision of the Constitution for us to make laws, that somebody is trying to do our job. I had expected that whatever that the judiciary would do is to interpret, and in the course of interpretation, can still refer back to the National Assembly to say, please, do this. But not asking that the executive to do the job of the National Assembly. So that offends the spirit of separation of power.
As a practicing lawyer, before coming here, in my view, whatever we raise here may not change the position. We have to act. And how do we act? Is that we appeal this judgment as an interested party, or the parliament file a suit, a fresh suit for that matter. However, we can take our position further by complaining formally to NJC on the judge who gave this kind of judgment. Because it is obvious the judge actually ought via his power. And of course, even as a parliament, we have no disciplinary power on the judge. So we must formally report the judge to his boss, which is the NJC. However, we must save time now, act, file an appeal, or file a fresh suit. We still have the time to nib it on the board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
My own take is very simple. It's with regard to the principles of natural justice, fair hearing, or the alternate pattern. Here the other side. National Assembly, as per Section 4 of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, is vested with the powers to make laws. In the exercise of that powers, we made that law. We are interested party. The court should have made an order for the National Assembly to be joined before taking any action. But in the present case instanta, that was not done, in clear violation of the very elementary principle of fair hearing.
Whatever decision or whatever wisdom this very court in question took to really effect the judgment they effected against an innocent institution, the legislature today, doing our noble job, the job that we were naturally elected to do, and no other person can do that, is to say the least an aberration. And I want to say that members of this institution must rise against this aberration. We are not only lawmakers, we must be custodians of laws, and laws must have to be obeyed in this country. We are running a system that should have respect for every other institution. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we must have to make a very strong statement and condemn this action.
When I know that
making his contribution, Speaker of the House, Representative Femi Gbajabiamila, said the House in its wisdom drew up the section in contention.
What the National Assembly did in passing the Electoral Act, and particularly 8412, was to deepen democracy, expand the frontiers of our jurisprudence, and make sure there's a level playing field for all and sundry. That's what we did. That's what we attempted to do with the direct primaries, and that's what we attempted to do with 8412. Unfortunately, the case was taken to court, not minding that there was a mischief that the National Assembly sought to cure. Every law, every provision has a mischief that it is trying to cure. And when you are interpreting a law, assuming that that law is even ambiguous, then you go to the mischief rule to get the full clarity of what was intended. It's called the mischief rule. And I don't think that was even ever addressed.
He said the lawmakers will do their best to preserve the laws for the benefit of Nigeria.
It behoves on this House, on the National Assembly, however we're going to do it, to appeal this judgment and have it set aside. It is important, not for anything, but for the sake of posterity and for the records. It's not for us, it's for the institution, it's for posterity, and it's for the records.
The Speaker appreciated President Muhammadu Buhari for his reliance on the legal advice given to him, but he assured Nigerians that the Ninth House will not be ridiculed under his watch. He then converted the matter of privilege to emotion with the following prayers: that the House appeals the ruling of the High Court, that the House petitions the National Judicial Council, and that the House asks the Attorney General of the Federation to delay action on the judgment.
Those in favor of the privilege as converted to emotion and the resolution, please say aye. Those against, please say the ayes have it.
On other legislative matters that day, the House read 11 bills for the first time. They include National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Act Amendment Bill 2022, Electronic Pensioners Verification Bill 2022, National Youth Service Corps Act Amendment Bill 2022, and Nationwide Industrialization, Manufacturing, Processing and Related Industries Bill 2022, among others. Similarly, 4 bills were passed for second reading.
I rise to move that a bill for an act to establish Federal University Wukari and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration, and for related matters HBs 1719 and 1845 be read the second time. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move.
The bill was voted for and referred to the Committee of the Whole. The other bills are a bill for an act to establish Niger Delta Institute of Technology and Skills Acquisition, Beiri, Rivers State, and make comprehensive provisions for management, administration, and detailed identification of areas in technology, skills acquisition, and for related matters, and a bill for an act to establish the Port Area Development Commission, charged with the responsibility to manage the ecological environmental menace from the operations of ports and for related matters. On motions, Representative Sergius Oseogun made a call to investigate the imposition of multiple processing or administration fees by the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board (JAMB) and its accredited agents on JAMB examination candidates.
Some of the charges as follows. 1. Application for transfer 7,000 naira. Change of admission letter with registration number 5,000 naira. Application for correction of data like data of birth, etc. 2005.
The House, as a resolution, decided to mandate the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services to investigate the multiple processing and/or administrative fees imposed by JAMB and its accredited agents on JAMB candidates and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. On her part, Representative Linda Chinda Ikpeazu moved a motion on the need to address the violation of human rights and unfair treatment of Nigerians in Indonesia.
Concerned that despite various reports of the heavy-handedness of Indonesian security and law enforcement officers towards Nigerians that have led to allegations of illegal arrests, detention, tortures, extortions, and other unreported fundamental human rights breaches, nothing has been done to reverse this unfortunate and unsavory trend.
The motion was adopted and the House mandated the Committee on Diaspora and Foreign Affairs to investigate the allegations of high-handedness and inhuman treatment of late Arinze Igweke and other Nigerians by Indonesian officers and report back within 4 weeks. Earlier, during plenary of Tuesday, the 22nd of March 2022, presided over by the Deputy Speaker, Representative Ahmad Idris Wase, the House passed 3 bills at second reading. They include a bill for an act to provide for the creation and development of an enabling environment for technology-enabled startup in Nigeria and for related matters. The Chief Whip of the House, Representative Tahir Monguno, led the debate on the bill before its passage.
Because this is an executive bill, and the executive, in their wisdom, sponsored this bill against the backdrop of the pivotal role that startups play in any given economy, especially also against the background of the fact that the world is going technological, and as such, there is a need to regulate technology incubation, technology innovation, as well as startups.
Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of science institutions. I should also think that while this bill passes secondary for committee, we should draft it in a manner where science and tech, Ministry of Science and Tech, there are other centers like PRODA, Oshodi, SMIDAN, are all scientific based. If we now start one, you can see a lot of duplicity, multiplications. It will be so multiplied that we even become confused.
If we have a center for startup, for technological startups, it's understandable that we now create an enabling environment. But Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I believe that the mandate of government at any level is to create an enabling environment for business, for technology. If we get ASU back, get them off their strike, get students back, is an enabling environment. Mr. Speaker, if we get our grid that has collapsed, it is an enabling environment. Without these issues, it will just be beaten, we will just be creating an enabling environment just by bills, without reality.
We appreciate your criticism for us to do more things to the glory of Nigeria and God. And I can tell you that we need this bill, we need it, and those who are in the space of technological advancement required, startup means encouraging them, giving them funding. That will enable us to grow. All the things they are mentioning from the other developed world is because some people sacrifice. And I believe the government is doing more than is sufficient in those areas. And so we are just about to strengthen. Those in favor of the bill say aye. Against say nay. They are saved.
The bill was voted on and referred to the Committees on Information, Technology and that of Commerce. Other bills passed as second reading are a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Zaki Biam, Ukum, Benue State, and for related matters, sponsored by Representative Richard Bande, and a bill for an act to amend the Northeast Development Commission Act 2017 to make provisions for enhanced efficiency in the operations of the Northeast Development Commission and deepen the impact of the Commission on the lives of resident member states through strategic capital development projects and enhance the critical sources of revenues due to the Commission and for related matters. The bill stands in the name of 6 lawmakers from the Northeast geopolitical zone.
Basically, this bill seeks to achieve the following. 1. To empower the Commission to adopt innovative financing mechanisms by saving 15% of its annual total revenue as general reserve fund, with the view to financially sustain the operations of the Commission beyond the 10 years period that part of the critical sources of revenue due to the Commission will last.
The Northeast is ravaged completely. The Northeast is destroyed completely, structurally. So I really want to call for the support of the honorable members to support this bill for sustainability of this commission and for the rehabilitation and resettlement that is going on in the Northeast.
The bill was voted on and referred to the Committee on the Northeast Development Commission. Similarly, 7 bills came third reading, while 10 bills were passed for first reading.
National Estate Housing Management Commission Establishment Bill 2022, first reading.
On motions from the order paper, Representative Zakaria Dauda Nyampa moved the motion on the need to investigate the perimeter fencing of the Abuja-Kaduna rail lines.
Also aware of the need to provide perimeter fencing to avoid accidents that could arise from human beings or animals crossing rail track, and install a digital security system to enable the operators to know when there is an impact on the rail and consequently get the needed help. Concerned that the operators have been having a running battle with communities surrounding the rail lines, particularly herdsmen, some of whose cattle that strayed into the rail track were crushed by a moving train.
Mr. Speaker, added to that, even where there is the parameter wall, the segment where there is the parameter wall, there is less sensitization of the locals around that area. That's why consistently we used to have stray animals crossing the rail line, getting involved into an accident, and yet there is no sensitization of the local communities, which is also part of the contract in itself.
The House resolved to urge the federal government to increase the number of security personnel stationed along the Abuja-Kaduna railways, as well as increase surveillance and intelligence gathering in the surrounding areas. mandate the Committee on Land Transport to investigate the extent to which the variation to accommodate the perimeter fencing of the rail lines were carried out and the level of implementation, and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Another motion titled "Call on the Central Bank of Nigeria to reinforce the use of coins as a legal tender" was moved by Representative Muda Lawal Umar.
The House notes that on February 28, 2007, as part of the economic reforms under the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, 50 naira, 20 naira, 10 naira, and 5 naira notes, banknotes, were reissued with new designs as well as the coining of 1 naira and 50 kobo, while a new 2 naira coin was introduced. The House also notes that despite the huge budgetary sum that was expended by the federal government in the production of coins as part of the legal tender, and the said coins seems to be extinct at the moment.
The House in its resolution resolved to urge the Central Bank of Nigeria to reinforce the use of coins as a legal tender and ensure that banks comply with the use of coins to the fullest. Mandate the Committee on Banking and Currency to ensure compliance. Meanwhile, the House, during proceedings in the week under review, received reports from different committees. The committees include those on tertiary education, youth development, poverty alleviation, as well as labor, employment, and productivity.
You are still on to House Ticket. In our next segment, we shall take committee reports. Stakeholders have continued to appear before the committee investigating the operations of 77 oil and gas companies with a view to recovering over 2 trillion owed the Nigerian government. Let's take details of these and other reports.
We have to do away with the issue of...
If there are challenges, you can always come to the National Assembly.
We must back that effort.
If there was only 2% left, why didn't the ministry inject some money for 20?
Why transferring for the same area that they have operated there? And you expect to come and clap for you?
The House Ad Hoc Committee on Recovering of Outstanding Debts owed the federal government by oil and gas companies has continued its investigations. The House was prompted into the investigation sequel to a motion on the need to recover over 2.6 trillion naira debts owed the federal government by 77 oil and gas companies. Deputy Whip of the House, Representative Nkeruka Onyediocha, chairs the committee. During the second sitting, stakeholders in the investigation have appeared before the committee to make their submission.
With respect to royalties, Chorus is up to date on royalties. With respect to PPT and taxes, we are owing about $159,000, and we are making sure that we get that payment made by Monday next week.
But to say that after 1 week you still tell the same story.
The chairman of the committee ended the session with these remarks.
We'll adjourn and then get back to you on the new date. Please let NNPC and Central Bank supply us with the records so that our reconciliation will be full. And for companies who are owing, including a rotor, we need them to pay, and every other company that is owing.
Meanwhile, the Ninth House is full of praise for the Super Eagles as its recent performance has improved the ranking of Nigeria in Africa and the world. The chairman, House Committee on Sports, Representative Olumide Oshoba, said this recently at a meeting with the Eagles technical advisor and other Nigerian Football Federation officials at the National Assembly complex.
Nigerians started having more faith in the team because we went back to our free-flowing wing play. So let us appreciate you people for that. And our ranking has been improved now. We are moved from 35th to 31st, just like we moved from the 5th ranked nation in Africa to 3rd.
The chairman further said the lawmakers are determined to support Nigeria's quest to qualify for the World Cup in Qatar.
All Nigerians are looking up to the coaching crew and the players to make sure that we get to Qatar. every Nigerian is rooting for you because you have shown the stuff you are made of in the AFCON. That team really wowed Nigerians. So they are expecting the team to continue in that stead.
Really delighted to be invited here today.
Responding, Super Eagles technical advisor Augustine Ebabong appreciated Nigerians for having faith in the national team, saying the team is being supported by all stakeholders, including President Muhammadu Buhari.
The president have also told me, whatever you think, don't hold back. That will make Nigeria as a country qualify for the World Cup. Please say it. So we've discussed extensively. So coming here today also now is, I'm quite encouraged, I'm impressed, and I know I have a lot of fans. It's just not about me alone, it's about the country. And the more we do well in the continent, I think in the continent I'm going to the World Cup, I think it's better for everybody. The boys are ready, we are ready. We've not been starved with funds so far. The encouragement is there, and we'll continue to do our best and then just leave the rest. Thank you, sir.
Further discussions took place behind closed doors.
That's the much we can take on this episode of the program. Join me again for another episode of the activities of lawmakers in the 9th House as they live up to their roles of making good laws for Nigeria and Nigerians. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day.